yourself?
Sure. So I'm Ken Woodard from Kensington, Maryland.
And what's your trail name?
I have not been given one yet.
You haven't?
And so I'm just open to that happening, I suppose. But
You're running out of time.
yeah, the long trail hikers frequently run without one unless they give it to themselves. And my children wouldn't let me grant one to myself. They were completely skeptical of anything I would think of, assuming it would be too self-aggrandizing. So I just go by Ken. Seems to work.
So if you had one, what would it be?
Oh, I don't know. I guess maybe something like Castor, because everyone I meet so far I talk about my podcast and
There you go.
sort of inflict my interest on them, and people have been wonderfully receptive to that.
Well, let's give a shout out to your podcast. What is it?
So it's called Lunch Duty Podcast, for teachers by teachers. It's a podcast just about topics of general interest to people in education.
All right. And so you're on the long trail. You're how far in and what do you got left?
So I'm going north to south, and really I have 2 or 3 days remaining of about 21.
What was the highlight of your trip?
The highlight? That's a great question. It might be impossible to answer just because the experience is such a fine-grained tapestry of intense and sometimes really small experiences. I mean, some are the obvious grand things like getting to a peak and getting an amazing view, and so Camel's Hump never disappoints. But on the other hand, the sensation of walking under your own power through a deeply beautiful forest at moments takes my breath away. And so it's a whole spectrum from the small and mundane to the grand and beautiful, and I love it all.
That's great. So if you had to give advice to somebody starting out like us, what would it be?
That's a great question. So do your research. The internet is always a good source of information for things to do and not to do. The problem I have had and somewhat continue to have is controlling the amount of weight I'm carrying.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
And almost all beginners start with way too much stuff
Yeah.
and too much weight. And that if you notice the really experienced backpackers, in particular the AT thru-hikers, they appear to be carrying absurdly little, but the payback for not having much is considerable. However, you have to be careful too, because there are some things with which you cannot do and still be safe. So I'm a firm believer in having a raincoat at all times. And I've heard of ultralight people who don't believe that's necessary, so I don't agree with that.
All right. Well, I appreciate you taking the time and letting me interview you.
Yeah.
So safe travels on the rest of your journey. Came to a road crossing.
My name's Mike Ryan. I section hiked the Appalachian Trail between like 2003 and 2016. avid hiker. I've done the Adirondacks, both regular and winter. I've done the Catskills, regular and winter. I've done the New Hampshire 4,000 footers, and I'm 3 mountains away from finishing the Northeast 4,000 footers.
Fantastic!
Good.
Congratulations.
2 left on the ridge where Katahdin is, and 1 outside of Stratton, Maine.
Wow, sounds very strenuous.
Yeah. I worked for the post office 39 years. Probably going to retire in a couple months.
Well, enjoy, and thank you so much for the trail magic.
Oh, thank you.
Hi.
So tell us about your trail magic that you're doing.
Yeah. They have a lot of people. When our first time it was 2015. We started 2015 till now.
Uh-huh.
The first hiker that we met, and it's 68 people like that. And you know, it's happy, good heart. If you see some people that they smiling, and you know, both sides we are happy, they are happy. It's more.
Oh, we
good,
appreciate it. This was a very big treat for us. This was our first trail magic. We ended up with hot dogs. We got a group here. There's all sorts of fruit. I had an egg, hard-boiled egg, and the very good tea. So very nice. Stratton Mountain climb.
It was really tough. Very hot.
What do you think? You gonna do it? All right. Finally made it up Stratton Mountain. There's the fire tower. So we're gonna be heading
So, Betty, how was your day?
Oh, it was a tough day. It was, at first going up to Stratton Mountain, I thought, oh, no problem. And then it steepened out. But the fire tower was nice. I liked being on top of it. And, oh, this last bit coming down, though, my feet were screaming. So, we're at Stratton Pond. We're going to stay at the shelter. I think we have to pay $5 each. But I got my water shoes on. I'm going to go ahead and...
Because I think it was like 90 degrees today.
Yeah, it was very hot.
So we're going to capture this event on video. Actually, the pond is, the water is relatively warm.
Cold, actually.
You going to go for it?
I will. We gotta see how deep it gets.
She's going in. She's a brave woman.
It's a little chilly.
She's getting herself psyched. What are you counting to?
3.
Woo, she did it! Wow! How's it feel?
Oh, refreshing.